マイクが切れたな。ヘッドセットあれが切れたな。なんでか。まあいいや、とりあえず違うな。間違えたな。だいぶ開幕からムービーとか始まっちゃうんで、頑張って裏でいろいろやってるんですよ。裏で何かしらやってるだけでどんどん進んでっちゃうんです。やばいやばい。早くやらないと。開幕の部分、配信に絶対向いてないんですよね。やばいやばい。いや、これでいいか。これでいいか。これでいいか。よし、なんかよくわからないゲーム、フィンチ家。フィンチ家で起きた奇妙な出来事。やっていきましょう。名前あったっけ、これ。フィンチ家、みたいな。フィンチ家の奇妙な屋敷で起きたことがね、全然違ったね。なんかね、設定とか全然ないんですよ。もうこの画面から始まるんですよ。
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you. And I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning with the house.
なんかこの家の血筋の最後の生き残りとして主人公がもうなんか足跡をたどるみたいな説明
I
を見
lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
気がするんですけど、私は11歳の時までここに住んでいたけれど、何を言ってるのかよくわかりませんでした。先進みましょう。ここスズラン咲いてんだよな。すげえ新聞詰まってない？
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
重要支給開封って書いてあるのに7年前のやつなんですね。あ、別にあれなんだ。中身
I hadn't
覗い
been
ただ
back
けで
since
す。
my brother Lewis's funeral.
こういう字幕の出し方は新鮮でいいですね。なんか今まであんまり見たことないよな。なんかアランウェイクだっけ？ああいうのこんな感じだった気はするんですけど、ちょっとね、やったことないんでわかんないですけどね。すごいですね。すごいスムーズに開きましたね。誰か手入れしてんの？これ落ちたりできる？落ちたりできないですね。
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked.
遺言と一緒にお母さんは鍵を残してくれたけど、どこを開けるのかはわからない。
Maybe she thought I'd know,
私の知っていると思
or
ったのかもし
she
れない。
thought
そ
the
れとも
mystery would be enough to bring me back.
その謎を解くために私が戻ってくると思ったのかもしれない。めっちゃ噛みますね。どっち？上？下？上でいいの？上はなんか別の道行っちゃわない？あ、どっちでも行けるのか。なんかこの感じあれですね。キンハ3の道みたい。あー、でも
I haven't driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few
そんなところに
footprints.
字幕出さないで読めないから。長いことちょっと待ってくださいよ。ちょっと待ってください、先生。あ、でもなんかシャワームとかあんのかな、もしかしたら。あ、シャワームなくても通れますね、この子。あ、すごいわ。天才。めっちゃめちゃめちゃ二度見されましたけどね、あれ。野生のトナカイ。
The truth is, Even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it.
本音を言えば家を相続した後も戻ってくるなん戻
But
って
now
く
I
る
had
と。
questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
でも今は家族に関して家そのものにしか答えられない疑問がある。だからフィンチ家とは何かみたいな、そういう話かな。そういうのを探りに
The
来
house
た。
was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
家は覚えていた通り、そのままだった。
As a
夢で見
child,
たと同じ。
the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words.
子供の頃うまく言えないけど、この家は私を落ち着
Now,
かなくさ
as
せ
a
た。
17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
今17歳になって何と言えばよかったかわかる。家を恐れていたんだと。ここに字幕出たけど、ここ進めるわけじゃないね。17歳にしては結構、あれですね、身長低いですね。そうでもないのか。そうでもないのか。そうでもないですね。結構のこと、170センチぐらいない、この子。
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
ちょっとこれ字幕読まなくていいですかね。フルボイスなんで、せっかく聞いてたいですからね。聞いてると間に合わないんですよ。聞いてると聞いてたで間に合わないんですよ。なんか万力とかそのまま残ってるじゃん。ハンダゴテ逆じゃね？これハンダゴテケースつきますよ、これ。逆向きに置いてあったら危ないでしょ。ハンダゴテケースつきますよ。室内でタバコ吸ってるし。海外ではそういうの当たり前なのかな。当たり前だとしてもシンナーとか使う場所でそういうのやめた方がいいと思うんですけどね。危ないですよ、単純に。
For the first time in years,
久しぶりに
I felt like I was home.
家にいる気分がした。
But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
でも家族の代わりにあるのは記憶の抜け殻。でも昔は住んでたんだね、11歳の頃。6年ぶり ?6 年ぶりにしては結構綺麗ですね。
Like how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot.
うちまで出前してくれたたった一軒のレストラン。ウェイ、ウェイ、ウェイ、ウェイ、ウェイ。
Or how after Lewis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
鮭の森、鮭缶に嫌気がさした。鮭美味しいですけどね。鮭ってなんか鮭と鮭の違いは加工してあるかどうか、すげえ量だな。確かに嫌になるわ、これは。これは確かに鮭缶に嫌気さしますね。ライト2つあるけど、つけなくて大丈夫。
The table was still a wreck from the night we left.
私たちが去った夜のままテーブルは散らかって
It
い
was like
た。
a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
いい家ってみようやな。でも6年経ったんだよね、これは。違うのかな。
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
イーディおばあちゃんが。いや、大概の人老人ホーム行くと思うんだけどな。うちの祖父母もね、あんま
Nothing
り
in the house
よろし
looked
くないんだよな。
abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth. Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
暖炉から出てきちゃった。字幕読んでたのに。やっぱ字幕読む時間ないですね、これ。走れないし、シフトボタンで走ったりできないし。これ、オルゴールでは オルゴールでは回せって。
Great Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
バーバラなんかちょいちょいね、家族出てくるんだけど、家族構成先に語ってくれないとわかんないですよね。家族構成から語っていただかないと。
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
混乱の、あ、何これなんかめっちゃ埋め立てられてるけど。
My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
なんだろう。なんか事故に巻き込まれ、事故とか事件に巻き込まれたみたいな。おお、これ使うんじゃ相当じゃないおばあちゃん。なかなかだよ。それ老人ホーム行かないかんわ。
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
あ、なるほど。ここは別に行く場所じゃないのね。てか、一回調べた場所も調べられるのかな。オルゴールまた触れるけど。いや、別に触んなくていいんですけどね。これ、キャンセルとかできない。あ、できるわ。見なくていいんだよな。換気扇勝手に動いてんのこれ。つまりこれ2階に行けってことか。
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
なんか、イーディおばあちゃんってさっきまで言ってたのに、イーディって呼び捨て、呼び捨てするようになってたな。これ覗きやな。
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
モリ、友達っていうか家族ちゃうの？仲良くなれそうなってことかな。
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
あ、てか親戚と一緒に住ん
Lewis
でたの
told
か
me
な。
there were secret passages, but I never believed him. Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
おー、面白いね。すごい面白い作りの入り口だね、これ。おー。あそこの鍵は本の鍵じゃ
Reading
なくて。
this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan.
秘密の入り口の鍵だった。
But I had no idea what was behind that door.
いいね。いいね。
Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
いや、普通に面白いわ、これ。まだ何も始まってすらいないんだけど。ここモリーの部屋ね。なんかマウスカウントが悪いね。ちょっと待って。マウスカウントこのぐらいにしていいかな。戻れるかな。 あ、うん、こんな感じでいい。
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
そうなるやろ。ネズミの餌を食
The
ったらあかんや
gerbil
ろ。
food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
あかんよ。
My Halloween candy was all gone.
クリストファー。いや、あかんよ
I
ね。
thought about eating Christopher, but I
言おうと思
held
ったけど
back.
我慢したの。やべえやつ。相当腹減ってますね。これは。モリーなんかやばい感じ。よいしょ。あ、やっぱ
Mom,
鍵か
can
か
I
って。
come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
夕飯抜きにしたのお前やろって感じだけどね。あ、そりゃ、歩き回るよね。お腹空いたもんね。トイレに何か、食べたの。
I ate a lot of things that night.
いや、それは、シャクシャクじゃねえんだよな。あんまりシャクシャクじゃねえんだ。
I kept eating and eating.
いや、おかしいよね。チョコミントだったのかな。チョコミントだったかもしれないですね、あれ。何の音だ？鳥だよね。
Then I heard chirping outside my window.
あー、来たの
It
か。
was a barn swallow going back to her nest.
手に帰ろうとして
I reached out
ツバメ
for
さ
her.
ん。
And suddenly, I was a cat.
どういうこと？おかしい。話がおかしい。猫になってたのじゃないよ。おかしいと思って。
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
そうやろ、猫が追っかけてきたら怖いよ。
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
まあ、ただの猫ですもんね。すごいな、あんなとこ通れるんや。食わせる。お腹すいたモリー
I
が
jumped and I almost got her.
食わせろっつって追っかけてんだね。
I could tell she was getting really tired.
これでタイヤ。
Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it
Yeah.
anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird.
鳥を食べたくてしょうがなかった。やばいですね。逆にあの金魚は食わな
I
かった。
gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl.
突然
First,
袋になっ
all
て
I
たら
heard
何？どういう
was
こ
the
と？
wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
葉っぱをかじる音がしたの？何を言うてはんねや、この人。
Rabbits.
ウサギ？よくそんな音聞こえたね。捕ま
I
えたね。
imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit.
いや、一口に
Then
こ
I
うグッ
flew
とはい
off
けない
to
でしょ、
find
ウサギ。
something bigger.
ウサギぞ。言うてウサギぞ。
A mama rabbit.
お母さんのウサギ。うい、捕まえるぜ。
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
突然サメ、いやおかしいでしょ。ね、どういうこと？違うじゃん。そういう、何それは。何それは。どう受け取ったらいいのこれは。あ、海に落ちればいいのね。死んでると思うけど、この時点で。
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever. I wanted fat, juicy seals.
美味しいアシカがいい。やった
I
ぜ。
tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
切れ足を引きちぎったらとても美味しかった。なるほど。サメにとってアシカはとても美味しいですね。どっちかのこと。ああ、いた。いただいときましょう。
Grabbed on tight. When I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
今度はニュルニュルになってましたね。さっきニュルニュルになっておくべきでしたね。すごいビチャビチャするじゃん。あれかな、あいつ食えってことかな。
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
怪物になった。怪物っていうかヘビですよね。あー、人食いヘビ。人食いヘビですか。お腹が空いてね、悪い夢でも見てたんじゃないですか。
Real quiet.
こっちは丸飲みにしておかしくないですけどね。時間かかるけど。なんだ、あ、上に行くのかな。なんか上うるさいしね。多分うるさい方に行けばいいですね。
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
スペースボタンを押さないと移動できないですね。ちょっと聞くに耐えない歌だったんですいません。処理しちゃいました。早急に処理してしまいました。あ、こっち側じゃないんだ。くそほどうるさいんでちょっとやめてもらっていいですか。間違えた。操作めんどくさいな。あ、ここか。ここだわ。お邪魔します。船長さんお邪魔し
After
ま
I
す。
passed passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it.
だからそっちに行ってみたのか。まあ、さっきの流れからする
I
とお家
slithered
の方
onto
じゃない
the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
パイプの中に消えていった。ああ、ってことは人ではないのか。今度の美味しそうなものはパイプの中。おかしいじゃん。トイレから出てくるのはおかしいじゃん。すっげえ視点くるくる回る。気持ち悪い。オッケーオッケー。
I got closer and closer.
あれここモリーの部屋。モリーの部屋じゃん。どこ？あ、
All of my stomach started growling.
べての胃袋
And
をぐるぐる
suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Eh, それが遺言ですか？
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
すげえ絵うまいじゃん、モリー。いや、モリーがうまいわけじゃないんだけど。すげえ絵うまいじゃん、モリーの。あ、喉がちょっとガラガラしてきちゃいますね。エディスって書いてある？あれ、名前。エディス。で、モリーは死んじゃったんだよね。これで死んじゃったの？モリー。こっから行く？こっから
This
行
will be
く。
obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
イーディはひいおばあちゃんなのか。
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
ドラゴンに殺された。
One summer,
そういうこ
they
とね。
evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
避難命令が出てもずっと島にいて老害じゃん。
I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time.
どういうこと？イーディス・ジュニア。
Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
屋敷の下にモグラ男が住んでるって言われてたの？このフィンチ家。公認のやばい家です
Even in
ね。
her 90s. Sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
おトイレか。ちょっと待ってね。
Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family on January 7th, 1937. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington, Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
500年にわたりノルウェー中で、その富と不運からフィンチ家は有名だった。あ、お金持ちではあったね。いろんな事故が起こるけど。オーリン・フィンチが、一族の呪いにかかった一番最初の受難者を葬った。それは妻のインゲボルグと生まれたばかりの息子ヨハン。名前すげえな、奥さん。インゲボルグって。1937年1月7日、彼は家族と共に、そして家と共に、船出する呪いから逃れることを願って。しかし、ワシントン沖で40フィートの高波にオーディンと家はさらわれてしまう。あ、家ごと海に出たの？すごくない？すごい人だったわ。やばい人だった。 オーディンの娘イーリとその夫スウェン、そして赤ちゃんのモリーは、新天地のオーカス島に上陸する。新しい墓地で最初に葬られるのはオーディンとなった。まあ、そりゃそうですよね。じいちゃんですよね。彼の娘イーリは、すでに新しいフィンチ家の屋敷を夢見ていた。おう。これどうやって終わるの？これどうやって終わるの？違うんですよ。これどうやって終わるの？ああ、下がればいいのね。わかんなかったらどうする？
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
うまいね。相変わらずうまいね。主人公のエディスが、うまいことしか全然頭に入ってこないよ、これ。で、これはトイレに行けばいいんでしょ？
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
すげえ存在感のバスルームだな。これさっきもあったな。薬入れか。あ、向こうも T が空いてたな。火曜日の朝か。マンデー、チューズデー、ウェンズデー、サーズデー、フライデー、サタデー、サンデーだもんね。多分そういうことだよね。薬入れ。火曜日の朝。なんか関係あるのかな？この鍵も同じ鍵で開くの？そんなわけないやろ。それはさすがにないやろ。ねえ。
There's a secret in this
開いた
bathroom.
わ。このバスルームには秘密が隠されている。
It's in the last place you would look.
それは誰もが普通には考え、
It isn't in the cupboard.
戸棚の中にあるわけじゃない。
It's hidden in this book.
隠されているのはこの本の中。なんか、おしゃれだね、隠し方が。でもいちいちこの開け方をする部屋は嫌だな。あんまり行きたくないな。あんまり
From
欲
the
しくない
paintings
な。
on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
自分より先に来た人がいたんだね。ここの部屋に。ミルトンって誰だっけ？ちょっと待って、ミルトンレウィスとミルトン。エディス。母親の名前なんつったっけ？多分これ家系だよね。家系図だよね。枝分かれしてって。で、ミルトンって母親だっけ？よくわかんないんだけど。つまり、この子の母親は、フィンチ家の秘密を知るために、ここに一回来たってことなのかな？閉めちゃった。で、なんか写真が好きだったのかな？
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin, and that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
ああ、ブランコをやらされ
My
る。
brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin
すごい酔います
always
ね、これ。
wanted to fly.
みんなね、 あんまり画面見ない方がいいですね。
But that day,
行くよ
he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
I'm not gonna tell you again.
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
うわー、目が回る。目が回る。
The day he made up his mind to fly, and he did.
やばめだね。
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
いや、私も考えたことあるみたいなこと言ったけど、
After the
割
funeral,
とヤバめの思考だよ、
Edie
それ。
roped off Calvin's half of the room.
アホすぎるよね。それは。
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
なんだって今。でもいいね、双子でこの間取りいいな。ここは別に鍵いらないの？あ、鍵いらないやん。すげえ作り。金かかってる。
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
一応こっちからも出れんのかな？出れたわ。
Edie's father Odin built the original house.
もうこれ喋っていいのか喋ってよくないのかわかんねえな、これ。
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left. Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
バーバラ？あ、バーバラ。バーバラ・フィンチって書いてある。My friend Bigfoot バーバラ・フィンチ。あ。これ、映画のポスターかなんかなのかな？有名人なのか、バーバラは。覗けるんだな。
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of. My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
なんか、金かかってんな、この家。
The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
ああ。いいね、なんか面白い雰囲気のゲームだね。どうしよう。ここ先に来るべき場所だったんだね。じゃあちょっと部屋の中探索してみよう。バーバラの部屋かな、ここは。
Growing up,
すごい
I
な。
always thought of Barbara as a child star.
あ、子役？子役なんだ。 子役で有名になった子なんだ。なんかギターとかあるけど。アコギ弾くんかな。自分でアイロンかけてたのあれ。偉
I
いじゃん。
never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
あ、結構成長したんだね、バーバラ。子役時代有名になったけど、まだなんか、スタートして活躍してたのかな。面白いね。なんか、
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
どういう話？
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it
なんだお前、スタース
The
トリームか。
Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
お父さんアホでしょ。
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding
ああ、だから
until
負けたの。
finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
いや、でも、入ったはずなのに鍵が置いてあるのおかしくない？
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
なにこれ攻撃が必要になるの？なんで武器を持ったの今。やばめ。何あれ？
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
突き刺し食べたと言います。ね。
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
あらまあ。
Oh!
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
また松葉杖フルパート？何この椅子？面白いじゃん。なんか海外でたまにあるよね、ああいう椅子。宙にぶら下げてある椅子。何これ？なんでいや、なんでしか出てこないんだよ。なんで家にあるようなもんじゃないでしょ、あれ。
Walter, are you there?
死ね、終わった。
Vanished.
いなかっ
His bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
た。爪とかじゃねえじゃん、それ。
Saw the hook man and was speechless. He was quite smashing. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
で、なんか、そうか、さっきの抜け道か。
That night, she played her part beautifully.
どういうこと？パニックホラーの女優的な？すごいな、これ。なんか、グラフィックも変わっちゃってるもんな。アメコミ風な
She
配
thought
色
about
で。
abandoning Walter, but just couldn't do it.
ああ、出るのか。
The door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned.
いや、おかしいでしょ。
He wasn't
人殺し、
but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
どういうこと？まだ生きてるよってこと？怖っ。いや、一番怖いのこの人だけどね。急に後ろから近づいて松葉杖でぶん殴ってる。
The hook man had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was...
あ、いないんだ。で、丁寧にドアが描写されてるけど。
She heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true.
いや、
Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
何笑ってんねん。ねえ、不気耳って。ふざけとんのか、お前は。ああ、これで地下に行けるのか。
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
あれ、こっからじゃないと出れないのか。だからあそこ出口になってんのか。
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
よし、じゃあ地下に行きましょう。でもなんで地下に行くの嫌がってたんだろうな。それはまだ分かってないもんね。バーバラがやべえやつなのは分かったけど。で、回しまくれってことね。おう、抜けた。なんでこの一番奥にテーブル層ってこれかな。
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
おばあちゃん結構来てたんだ
I
ね。
thought maybe she was hiding presents.
ドンキャな。子供だもんな。
It
あ、
turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
冷蔵庫なんて怪しいと思ってたら、そういうこと
I
か。
remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
すごい、地下シェルターみたい。ウォルター。ウォルターおじいちゃんだっけ？
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week.
Eh, 何をさせるのこれは。
But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow.
すごいな。
But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything.
白桃の缶詰丸飲みしてる。
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly. And then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave while I still can.
よいしょ。すげえシェルターだ。
I know it's out there somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara
バーバラを殺した何か。
and Molly and Calvin.
どういうことだ。
Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left, or a month, or a single week. I'd be happy with one more day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
なんか、あれだね。いちいち演出がオシャンティーだよね。
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
ウォルターはずっとここに引きこもってたんだね。その屋敷の呪い的な何かに恐れてずっとここにいたんだろうね。すげえな。食料の備蓄がすげえな。まず救急セットとかあるじゃん。ファーストエイドキット。これはあ、シェーブクリーム。鏡がないね。ひげ剃りクリームがあったかな。これはあ、ペッパーとか書いてあるから香辛料か。なんで調味料とかちゃんとあるんじゃん。なんでここの桃しか食ってねえのこいつ。
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
こりゃあね、飽きもするよ。ずっと白桃の缶詰食ってるんですもん。
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made.
ここにも食料がすげえな。逆にすげえわ、こんだけ備蓄できんの。羨ましいわ。羨ましいはちょっとおかしいな。すごいよな、こんだけ備蓄できんの。ここにゴミ捨てんのはどうかと思うけど。
Trying to bury something that's still alive. Of us left, or maybe 2. I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
すっごいおしゃれなゲームだよね。いいね。
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
これインターフェース英語で見た方が良かったかもしれないな。字幕。俺わかんねえけど。
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family. And the history you're a part of. Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
これあれなんだね。俺推理ゲーって聞いたけど何にも推理しないね。もう考察だね。わけわかんねえもん。この家の人たちのことわけがわかん
And
ね
when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible.
でもね、これ雰囲気が好きな人はめっちゃ好きかもしれない。すげえ酔うけど。個人的に自分でやりたくないタイプのゲームですよ、これ。
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
家より先に墓地を建てる。
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault. Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery. I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away.
これあれか。名前なんだっけ？オーベンだっけ？オーディンか。オーディンの
She
墓。
could see it poking out of the water at low tide.
これ？なんや？あ。
Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
一緒に海を渡ってきた家だね、これ。これ帰ればいいの？
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
今のところここの家の人たちがやべえ目にあったことと、
But looking back on it now,
主人公がめちゃめちゃ絵うまいってこと以外わかんないん
if
だ
she
けど。
told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
22週目の体。こいつアホなのか？お子さんいるのにこんなことやってんの？やばめ。あ、でもそうだよな。普通に考えたらこれ実家に帰ってきただけだもんな。
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
家に帰ってきてこんな目に遭うなんて誰も思ってないもんな。
They were both pretty intense. Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
もうね、そろそろ終わりにしようかなぐらいに思ってるけど、これね、完走しないとね、次枠が辛いね。なんか、あれだわ。デイズを思い出すわ。キングダムハーツ。何これ？
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
ああ、これ俺が動かすん
Am I
だ。
gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged. Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some
Go in
pictures,
there.
okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
なんか、あれかな、目的の人物が取れれば終わりなのかな。タッチションすな。
Hey!
That's a keeper.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
ああ、この
You
人
know
と
who
の
else thought he
思
was
い出
gonna
を
be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
犯したろ。
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Now, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years.
めっちゃピンボケさせたろ。
Dawn, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph?
ピンボケさせたら完
Last
成
time I
し
was
ない
with
ん
my
だ。
brother Calvin. Man, you don't need to waste any more film on me, kiddo.
こうか。あれちゃうかった。あれこれじゃないんだ。これでも撮っとこう。
Your grandpa's Fen taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail.
めっ
There were
ちゃ
deer
めっ
everywhere.
ちゃ写真撮りまくってる。
I bet if I could remember where that trail was, we'd spot a buck for you in no time.
めっちゃ写真撮ったろ。めっちゃフィルム無駄にしたろ。もう話前に進まなすぎる
Give me
で
a
しょ。
minute to check the map.
やっぱそうだよね。これもう多分撮っても意味ないやつだよ。あれもしかしてこっちか。いや、そんな
Let's
わけ
see.
でもなんかこっち側見れるな。
Maybe.
めっちゃフィルム無駄にしといたろ。あれ
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn.
あれか。
Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of it.
どれどれ打つ前に写真をこっちの方にいるってことかな。中華構えてるのあっちだよね。ああ。
Dad,
こうか。
I
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Focus on your target. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Dawn!
いや、お前がうますぎるね。撃った瞬間を撮るってやばすぎるって。
I'm proud of you, Dawn.
なになになに
Always
なに
remember that, okay?
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about.
Dad! Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
それさっきも言ってなかった。アホな死に方した人やったんだな。狩りの最中に気抜いて死んだ。
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
なんか今までなんか呪い系のあれだったのに一気に普通の事故になったよ。一気に不注意になったけど。あ、今度赤ちゃん。
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
何をすればいいのこれは。あ、これ、カエルの方を動かすの。
Watching's over, Gregory. It's time to. Hold on, sweetie. Hello?
カエルの方を動かすの。
Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw. What his world was like.
何やこのゲーム。何やこのゲーム。コメントしがたいこれ。あ、今度アヒルもついてこない。やばいな。
Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was, he saw.
あ、これあれな。クジラな。あ、違う。
Sure made him
あ、やっぱクジラや。何やこれ。プーンちゃう。
I know how silly it
違
sounds.
うじゃん。
But I worried about a baby.
バカゲーやってんの。
But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
ああ、動けるね。いやいや、バカゲーやってんのこれ、俺。
I wish you could have told us about the world we saw.
俺は何のゲームをやってるんだ。
There's so much I don't understand about Gregory, about everything.
詰まったわ。でもすごいゲームなのだけは伝わってきたわ。
But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
はい、バカゲーでした。悲惨な事件なのにな。多分お風呂で溺れて死んじゃったんでしょ、あれ。すげえ悲惨な事件なのに。
I
ただ
can't
のバカ
imagine
ゲ
my
ー
mom
なん
ever writing poetry, and yet.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our
何これ
life.
何これ何これ何これ
My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
面白いけど、何なんこれ何なんこれ
I tried to talk
あ
him
の
out
途
of
中
it,
から
though
あのね
he'd never met her. We don't need a stepmom, were the words
す
that
げ
I
えいい
wrote.
雰囲気のゲームだなって思ったんですよ。推理ゲーって聞いてやったけど、全然推理ゲーじゃなくて、なんやこれと思ったけど、途中でね、あ、いい雰囲気のゲームだなって思い始めてたんですよね。なんなんこのゲーム。ごめん、ちょっとなんなんこのゲーム。こっちかな、こっちだわ。なんなんこのゲーム。
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
俺は何をやらされてるんだ。笑うわ、何これ。
The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. Woohoo! The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
まあ、割とね、災害に対する認識が低いのは、まあまああることで。
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
なんで俺は途中からバカゲーをやらされてたんですか？あ、こっちか。もうせっかくいい雰囲気のゲームだなって思ったらここ登ってくる。
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
寝裏に引っ越したって言えんのそれ。これお母さんの部屋か。
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
ってことはこの時は
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
その時はまだこの主人公
And for a
のエリス
while,
だっけいなかっ
things
た
were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last.
すげえな。家を増築するってそ
Beginning
も
at the
増
end
築
was
はしない
Milton's
でしょ。
10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
見ると
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
ミルトンって誰？ 1992年からだからだいぶ新しいよね。あ、これか、ミルトン。お母さんの名前なんつったっけ？すぐ人の名前忘れるからね。苦手なんですよ、人の名前覚えるの。だからね、ファソモフォビアでもすぐ人の名前忘れるんですよね。
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
ああ、ペラペラってするタイプのやつか。魔法の鉛筆言うて鉛筆全然出てこないや。あ、F でって書いてある。あ、F でだ。しかも丁寧に最初から再生するね。これ子供の頃よく作ったよね。すげえ綺麗に1枚ずつめくるじゃん。プロやんな。
I was 4 when Milton disappeared. Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
いやまあ家族
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
ずっと閉じこもってたから。閉じこもってたことにかけてる缶詰工場はもしかしてそういうこと？そういう意味で缶詰工場なの？
Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room. Except Lewis.
すげえ部屋だな。ルイスってこれでルイスって呼ぶんだ。これがファスモフォビアの名前で出てきたら多分読めてなかったわ。マイケルですら正しいか分かってないからね今だ。すげえ。
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
すげえな。これなんかすげえと面白いぐらいしか言ってないよね。
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
ねえねえねえねえ。
He kept working at the cannery.
何をさせてんの？あれ？動かないけど。ああ、動くわ。動いた。
But he withdrew part of himself.
ああ、なるほど。ほい。ああ。え？
In our sessions, I
サク
saw
ナ
the
姫
same
が今や
behavior.
らされてるの。サクナ姫か。
His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats and toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head.
左のね、操作をしながら左の操作、ああ
But he took it very
切らないと
seriously.
ダメなんだ。左の操
I
作をし
had
ながらね、
hoped
こ
he'd
の
find himself.
ギロチン避ける。すげえくだらないことしてるんですよ。何したらいいかわからない。
But he found something more.
ああ
I worried about him.
面白い
then.
なこれ。いやこれ避けながらやるのが面白い
Daydreaming
と
at
か
the
じゃないけど。
cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee.
おい
Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis.
ああ
So I let him go on.
畜生。ああ畜生。切られちゃう。
I even encouraged him.
ああ難しい。超難しいこ
It
れ。
seemed very promising at first.
めっちゃ難しいこ
He
れ。
told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis
get it.
Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them
ク
to
ソほど
play.
無駄なことしてる今。
talked about starting a band.
別にそれカットしなくてもいいんだよね。
And he was always humming something.
なんか
Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery.
ちょいちょい、あ、
But his
そう
chopping
か
was as
そうか。
reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him
そうかそうか。
that
だ
all
から
the
鮭の
cheering
缶詰を。
crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished.
こんなことしてるやつが
He
模範
held an
的な
election for mayor,
作業員なわけないと思う。
and he won.
でででで。 で
They
でで
begged
で
him
で
to
で
stay,
で
but
で
his mind was already wandering.
その旗はダメでしょ。
It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on.
ナチュラルにすげえ鮭を
You
鮭を
Lewis
引っ張っては進んでる船かと思ったわ。すげえナチュラルに。
St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
なんかあれかな。コメントせんでええかなこれ。
In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a beautiful prince.
なんかよくわかんないけど進みました。あれこれどっち選んで
The
も
prince
同じ
was
なの
on his own quest for
じゃあ冒険に出かけ、邪悪な蛇を
sinister
探している。
serpents.
何やあのキュウリ。何このキュウリ。
He followed the sound of his
ああでもこういうのだったらエレキしてあるじゃん。これ銀の
silver
ハー
harp.
プだよね。あるよね。なるよね大体。これさ。
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon.
ダメだわ。今コントローラー使ってみたんだけどダメでした。
Even then, his logic remained sound.
手止まってるぞ。作業員手止まってる
He knew the
ぞ。
world was all in his imagination.
作業員手止まってるぞ。作業員手だけズンチャカしてるぞ。
But he was so proud of having created it.
ああ。切らんといかんね。
In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
いやーどうもどうも。どうもどうも皆さん。どうもどうも。いやーどうもどうも。
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it
こ
struck
の
him
勇者の歩き
that the
方
real
面
Lewis
白い
was
な。
not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace.
なかなか面白いな。ちょこちょこ歩く。
My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
いやー、面白いけど何の話だったの？
Began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
あれが勇者ルイス
He
です。
began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
これが何をしてんの？この人何をしてんの？何もしてないけど
I
作
still
業員
thought
じゃ
I
ない
could
よ。
save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
全員スクリーマーみたいだけど怖くない？これ。
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him.
Waka わかんなくはないが、自分もね、仕事で単純作業をずっとやってた
His
ことがあっ
prince
たんです
waited, holding his crown.
で、ずっと頭の中で音楽流してるか、
There was only one thing left to do.
もしくはゲームでなんか妄想するぐらいしか。
Bend down his head. ギロチンじゃんこれ。And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
ああ。やっぱ兄さんなんだね。なんか、お母さんがお父さんと出会って1年後にルイスがなんちゃらかんちゃら言ってたけど、やっぱルイスお兄さん。結構なやべえ人だったけどな。でもあんな感じになっちゃうのよね。あそこまではなんないけど、でも結構あんな感じになっちゃうよね。ずーっと同じことしてるって結構耐えらんないことだから。一日中鮭の首ぶった切ってるだけでさ、なおさらかもしれないね。これをもう今日中に終わらせたいな。実況が辛いです、これ。このゲーム。でもこれどこ行けばいいの？そしたらあとは。もうなくない行く場所。あれもうないよね、行く場所。
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
サムおじいちゃんの話はもういい。 もういいんだよ。わかったからさ。あれ？いや、こっから上がってきたんだよね。あれ、上にまだあったかな？これは何？エリーと、なんて書いてあるのこれ。ダービー？お二人ないね。あ、でも、この一家の話終わりでいいのかな？この一家の話は終わりでもらっていいのかな？あ、でももう一個いけんのかな？いけないわ。なんかね、周りが暗くなってきたから、全然行く道どっかわかんねえよな。あ、でも戻れない。ってことはもうちょっとこっちで何か探す。推理ゲーって聞いたのに、これはちょっと怒りますよ。これはちょっと怒りますよ。ただね、雰囲気めっちゃいいわ。こういう、なんかこういうのね、探索するゲームだったら好きかもしれない。すごく好きかもしれない。こういうの。出れないよな。やっぱこの先でやっぱやることあんね。こうフリークライミング式にする意味がわかんないけど。ちょっとマジで意味がわかんないけど、もうね、だいぶね、俺も頭やられて話すことなくなってきたわ。頭痛なってきたわ。結構頭痛くなってきてる。すごいよ、このゲーム。マジで。意味わかんねえもん。雰囲気でごまかしてるけど、すげえ意味わかんねえもん、このゲーム。あ、こっから行くのか。こっからだ。こっからだ。こうでしょ。ああ、やっと見つけた。こうか。俺もファスモフォビアやってた
On the
方
way
が
back
よかった
from
かも
Lewis's
しれない。
funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
どこどこどこどこどこどこどこどこあー、ここか、ここか。
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed.
何これ。何これ、ビーズクッションかなんか。
My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
自分の部屋これ。あー、ここで
That whole last day,
書き残した
Edie
の
just
か。
watched us pack and didn't
残
say
し
a
たっけ
word.
か。
Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
To our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
あ、動いてね。ぼーっと見ても。ぼ
The
ーっ
power
と
had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sailed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life.
すげえ津波来るよ。
But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
地震の後、だいぶ非常来たら
I got turned around.
振り向かされんあはあれ俺何の話したっけ
For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things.
引き潮の話だっけ
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
あ、これあの家の
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine!
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go!
I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car.
Oh.
I never saw Great Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by.
今の何やってん？
My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes.
確かに俺も全く理解できない。
Appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way.
あ、で、船の上で読んでたのはイリスの子供か。
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
今の演出、あれだよね。多分生まれてきたってことなんだろうね。すっごい意味が分かんなかったけど、楽しかった。意味が分かんなかったって言っちゃうと、あれだけどね。ほんとね、作った人が何を伝えたかったのか全くわからないんだけど、なんだろう。一つの映像作品を見てるようなっていうかもうそのままだったよね。見てたんだよね。だからっていうのもあれだけど、なんかね、何を伝えたいのか全くわからないね、このゲームはね。でもそれでいいのかもしれないね。なんか。菩薩なんていらないですよ。でも、最後の子は、フィンチ家の呪われた運命から逃れることはできたのかね。 僕よくわかんないけどエディスはその最後の生き残りとしてあの家を訪れたけど、最終的にその子供が生まれて、その子が本当の最後の生き残りになっちゃったってことなんだろうね。あの墓参りのシーンはちょっと悲しかったわ。なんだろうね、一人アホな死に方したけどおじさんがね、鹿に飛ばされて亡くなったけどね、ただの事故ですけど。そう、なんか途中でバカゲーやらされたけどね、グレゴリーの時。なんで最後グレゴリーでバカゲーやらせたのあれ。もうじわじわ来てるわ。もうこの配信、あれですよ。黒歴史認定ですよ。現段階の俺からしても黒歴史認定ですよ。どうしてくれんの？ジ・エンド。ザ・エンドってね。さて、イリーか。イリーだ。だからこの2人は最後まで描かれなかったんだね。ストーリーをリプレイするオプションが追加されました。最初からプレイするためにエディスを選択してください。ストーリー。いや、もう、だいぶ長いこと。なんか、あれだね。本当に映像作品だったね。ごめん、なんかね、もうこのゲームに関してはコメント控えていいかな。あとね、まあ前は、配信内では何も言わないでおくわ。さあ、それじゃあですね、次枠、また普通にホラゲーやります。お口直しのつもりがすごい口汚されたんで、ホラゲーやります。ファスモフォビアやります。というわけでですね、長時間ご視聴ありがとうございました。まあ、ここまで見てる人いるかわかんないですけど、ね、こういう作品もあるんだっていう。こういうのをね、ちょっと、なんか別の作品でも活かしていただいたら、もう、自分普通にプレイさせてもらいたいぐらいなんで。ノベル作品でなければ。これもタグちゃんと見とけばよかったな。なんかノベルとか書いてあったかな。まあいや、とにかく作品としてはとてもいい作品だと思いますので。皆さん、こういう作品ではないですけど、なんかいい作品があったら教えていただければと思います。それではですね、ご視聴ありがとうございました。また次回でよろしくお願いいたします。